Good evening, everyone. This is DeAndre Hawthorne. The name is spelled D-E, capital A-N-D-R-E. And Hawthorne is spelled H-A-W-T-H-O-R-N-E. I am an employee of Cook County Stroger Hospital on the west side of Chicago, and I am a ward clerk. Now, how do I feel about this pandemic that's been just destroying our city, Chicago, our state, Illinois, our country, the United States, and the world? Working in a pandemic like this, I've never seen anything like it in my life. This pandemic here, it has no bias. At working at this hospital, I've seen older people, I've seen younger people. We actually lost a baby here. I've seen male, I've seen female, I've seen different races, ethnicities, nationalities. I've seen everybody affected by this pandemic, and that's something that I just have not seen before in my life. The amount of people that have tested positive for COVID-19. And it's very difficult, being someone who cares about people, to see people in pain. It's very painful when your loved one is dying and you can't go to the hospital to visit them. These people can have no visitors. The hospitals are not accepting visitors right now. It also pains me that some of these people who are on their deathbed, the only way that they can communicate with their loved ones is through technology, some type of FaceTime or something of that sort. Now, being a healthcare worker, the challenges that I have personally faced and my coworkers and I have faced is not having the appropriate equipment to take care of many of these patients. If you're not a doctor or nurse, they're not really giving you the equipment that you need in order to go in these rooms. They're not giving you the protective gear. There are people who have face shields, who have N95 masks, who have surgical masks, who have gloves and gowns and foot coverings and head bonnets. Well, they just don't provide that type of thing for the ward clerks, which is my title. They don't provide it for the transporters. They don't provide it for the janitors. They don't provide it for the food service workers. And many of these other people that I've just named that work in these classifications have actually come down with this disease, coronavirus, COVID-19, and tested positive for it. So that is the personal challenge that I have faced when it comes to working with these patients that are affected by COVID-19. It also affects my everyday mental state. Coming up in here, seeing the stress and the worry that my coworkers have. It's a spirit of fear right now. So those of us who are working every day, we may be okay, but when we look to the left of us and to the right of us, our coworkers are not okay. And so we have to spend more emotional energy to get up every morning, to come to work every day, to be here on time, and to put a good face and a positive attitude to work every day so that, we can make it through the day. I think some of the treatments that could help to cure COVID-19 is preventative measures. We got to take care of ourselves. We have to eat right. Especially African Americans, we have to eat right. Our diet has to be much better. We have to put more alkaline-based foods in our bodies, and take vitamins and supplements and different things that will help our immune be boosted up a little bit higher to fight off those diseases, to make sure those white blood cell counts are high. One of the situations that I would never get over, or never forget, I should say, is, seeing how the transporter comes and picks up these patients. One minute they're okay, and then the next minute they're headed to ICU because they're losing that battle and losing that fight. And because I'm a person who has lost a loved one and know what it's like to be in the hospital, although I work here, I still have that soft spot in my heart when I see someone leaving the regular unit and going to the intensive care unit. Those are situations that you can never forget working at a place like a healthcare facility. And last but not least, this virus has affected African Americans more than any other race, than any other nationality. We're dying quicker and we're dying faster than anyone else. This really upsets me. It upsets me that this disease was first considered to be a Chinese disease, a disease that started in Wuhan, China. And now what was considered to be a Chinese disease has now become a black disease. Sort of like AIDS and HIV. At first it was a gay white male disease, from what they were saying. It started, but now it's a black disease. So what is it about black people that we get these diseases and we die more than anyone else and we are tested positive more than anyone else? I don't think that that's by mistake. I think that there's a lack of resources in our community. I think that there's a lack of information in our community. And I think that, quite frankly, there's a lot of people that just don't care about the black community like they care about other communities. And so it's upon us that have this knowledge to go out there and wake up our people, to make sure that they're knowledgeable of what's going on around us, to make sure they know that there's preventative measures that you can take, to make sure that we practice social distancing, to make sure that we wear those masks when we're outside, and don't go outside unless it's necessary to go outside. I know that's difficult because we haven't trusted the government in a long time. We remember the Tuskegee experiment when the government injected 100 black men with syphilis. We remember the government sending smallpox on blankets to the Native Americans, killing thousands of them. So we have a mistrust for the government. So anything that they tell us don't do, because we don't trust them, we just do it anyway. But this is something that you have to listen to them on. Because again, we don't know what's in the air. We don't know how this thing is being spread. Right now, the scientists are saying that it's a droplet disease, which means that if someone coughs or sneezes, then those particles are released in the air and they remain in the air for so long until they go down to the floor or the ground. Well, we're told that it's a droplet disease, but do we really know? Do we really know? Is it airborne? And then there are patients that have COVID-19 that are on airborne versus patients that are COVID-19 that are on droplet. So when you mix the patient that has an airborne disease with being a COVID-19 positive patient, then guess what? It's airborne. And we put those patients in negative pressure rooms. But what about the people who are out there who are airborne and COVID-19? So let's stay prayed up. Let's stay positive, and let's do all that we can to defeat this disease. Thank you so much. This has been DeAndre Hawthorne, aka Black Ice, poet activist, and this is my coronavirus perspective.